And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at the poolside of the Intercontinental Hotel. What a guest we have with us on this holiday season. I tell you, this book you need to pick up. I don't recommend too many books too often, but this one, The Boy Is Gone, Conversations with a Mau Mau General, written by Laura Lee Huttenbach. You see, I said that very slowly because I might end up saying Laura Lee Huttenbach. Laura Lee Huttenbach. Spent a lot of time in Meru. Great story. Tweets, I tell you. Looking at them right now. Tweets coming in, Stano.
Thick and fast.
I can't hear you.
And thick and fast.
Thick and fast. Keep tweeting at LL Huttenbach, at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag, the title of the book, The Boy Is Gone. Great group, great read, by the way. Fantastic, well done. So, you go back and you get a publisher, obviously, or did you have one before you left?
I did not.
You didn't, okay.
No,
So you searched for a publisher?
That was a long process.
Yeah. How long did it take to write?
Took about 2 years full-time to write.
Yeah.
Because at first I transcribed all of our interviews. And if you've ever, have you transcribed? So one hour of spoken conversation.
Me that question? You asking me that?
Exactly. Well, well, maybe with your stature, you probably like outsourced the transcription.
You
maybe
didn't go
I don't
there.
know. Did you? It's like the most tedious task.
It is horrible.
That's the first thing I'm gonna like help.
Word for word.
Help. I had a foot pedal.
Was it tough getting a publisher?
It was very tough.
Yeah, because of the subject matter. I mean, you know, you people don't care about African stories for the most part.
Yeah, well, the travel log through Africa is a popular genre. The white girl travels through Africa or whatever, but I thought his story was the most important one, and I didn't want my story to interfere with that at all. And so, but it was a challenge because I was unknown, he was unknown, and you're right, Americans in general don't think they care about Africa, but it hasn't been presented necessarily in palatable ways or in interesting ways, and so
until you had a Kenyan president, right? Then that's
exactly.
Everybody became interested.
I think the best rejection I ever got, I don't even know if it's wise to say this,
say it.
But it was Oxford University Press, and they said it was a peer review. Actually, Oxford liked it, but the peer review said, "This is the work of an autodidact and suffers from the usual problems of such a text." And I was like, really, Oxford?
Whoa.
You're going to reject me with a word I have to look up in the dictionary? Like,
what was the word again?
Autodidact. It means self-taught. So I didn't have a PhD. And so, but now I wear that as like a badge of honor.
Yeah. Did you send a copy to Oxford?
I did. Yeah. I met someone at at an oral history conference.
Did you say, "Hi, do you like me now"?
I did actually. I went back and I saw her at an oral history conference and showed her the book, and it was great. So
And did you give us some choice words or?
No. I think she saw it in the book. Ohio University Press is an excellent publisher and has a lot of great African history titles.
Yes. They've been very committed to Africa for years.
Absolutely, and the editor there, Jill Berkowitz, is just fantastic, and my series editor.
Response so far in America?
It's been great. I mean, every reading, I've done readings in Miami. I launched it in Miami and did readings in New York and Atlanta and Charleston. And everywhere I go, it's just like a totally new story for people. I started out usually asking people in the audience, like, what images, headlines, words come to mind when they hear the word Kenya or Africa. And then from there, tell them.
They probably start with Ebola, Al-Shabaab.
Runners. Also, and I told you that's like,
go on.
So everyone, before I went back.
You jog a lot, you're a fitness fanatic.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And so they're like, oh, my American friends said, you're gonna find so many good running partners in Kenya, because that's what they think all Kenyans run a marathon a day. And so in Meru, though, nobody runs, and so I would put on my running shoes and start, hitting the hilly dirt hills, and people would stop and be like, Mzungu, why are you running? And I said, I'm just exercising. They're like, is somebody chasing you? I'd be like, no, I'm just burning energy. They're like, then seriously though, why are you running? And say, I'm just clearing my head, burning energy. And they said, why don't you work? Like, go plant beans, like do something productive.
Go pick some tea.
Yeah, exactly. Like use your energy for productive purposes.
Yeah, don't run.
Yeah, this is stupid. So it was a funny play on stereotypes, right?
Wow, incredible. The question I asked you before the break, and we're talking about this with friends of mine. I mean, we feel almost ashamed that you've come from the outside and, way outside, and you've come and written one of the most important stories of a different generation. How come? What is wrong with us?
Nothing's wrong. I think history doesn't feel like history when it's sitting at our dinner table, right? And so this is a man that a lot of people have grown up with. They think they've heard all the stories, and I don't know if your dad did, like when he got started telling stories, eyes kind of roll, oh, here's dad again, or here's granddad telling his stories, and sometimes it takes an outsider to see the value in someone's story and ask questions. And I think a really special part of the generals in my relationship was that he never scolded me for what I didn't know, but commended my desire to learn and be taught. So no question. And also because there wasn't presumed knowledge, like a base of knowledge that I had, I would start from scratch and I would ask questions that maybe Kenyans would just assume they knew the answer to.
Yeah.
And everyone's busy, right? Like,
do you hope, after taking this book to Meru, after taking it to the region, that more stories will come out of this? Because obviously the general wasn't alone in this fight. There were many others. And the Meru story has hardly been told in our history. Are you hoping that people pick this up and run with it?
I would love that. Unfortunately, like a lot of people have passed on already, but what I would love, if it were to be taught in the curriculum of schools, maybe I could create like a study guide to accompany it, and teachers could include oral history, like questions to go back and interview their elders and grandparents and people in the community, and start it at a school level too, and start valuing, because the general really regretted that his grandkids didn't know the stories that we were sharing, and that with all the good that the Western system of education brought to his community, that this tradition of learning from elders was dismantled as soon as the missionaries came in. And so I think it would be really cool to introduce that in the school, to make it a subject, and or not a subject, but a part of a class.
Absolutely.
That they go back to their homes.
Yeah. Was the general's family surprised at his role in Mau Mau, or did they know?
They knew.
Yeah.
They'd heard stories, and so they knew some of it. And Moredi, when I met him, he said, because I asked, how can I learn more about your dad? I assumed that there was a record, and he said, we don't even have a birth certificate on my dad. And he said, we knew, we'd been meaning to do it, but nobody's done it. And Moredi lived in Nairobi, he was busy, all the kids, everyone's busy. So they were pretty open to having me come. A lot of Americans say, why would this Kenyan man trust this white girl from America to tell his story? And one reason was that I asked. I expressed interest, and the general was, excited to have a young person that was interested in his story and asking questions and curious. And
how many kids does he have?
He has 10. 10 kids.
Does he have kids your age?
No. The next one is Moredi. I think he's like 45 or 46.
He was the youngest, huh? And he didn't live to see this.
I brought him back in December 2013. I brought him a manuscript.
Yep.
So he held it, he felt the weight, we went through it together, and he was delighted to see that his legacy would outlive his body. And so we went through it, and he just loved it. And,
same title?
I called it Memoirs of a Mau Mau General, but it's not really memoirs because I wrote it from his edited transcript.
So it's conversations now.
Exactly.
But it was The Boy Is Gone. What does that mean?
It comes from something, he was talking about the male, the tradition of male circumcision, the rite of passage in Meru and Kikuyu, and he was saying that when the procedure happens and they stay in this kind of hut and heal and eat a lot, and when they leave that hut, I think it was called a kiganda or something, that the boy is gone, the boy has gone with men. And so it's this, it's a lot of theme. One big theme of the book is this transition, this rite of transformation, from youth to adult, from traditional to modern. And then also he brought up that colonial people used to call all Africans, no matter of age, boys. And so he said after independence that changed, and he said, I'll address you with respect, you address me with respect. So a couple different, but the main thing is I wanted the title to come from his words, because the entire book pretty much is his first person narrative. So that was his quote talking about the rite of passage of circumcision.
Yeah. You have this way about connecting with people, don't you?
I like to think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I like talking to strangers. I feel like you can learn something from everyone. And my mom used to tell me, honey, my ears are tired, because I would talk to everyone. I would just like in the post office line, just start talking, asking questions. And so I think babies, you're a baby too,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I think you have to like do something to like connect with other people, because everyone's tired of like things, everyone, like all the other kids, like all the other siblings
Yeah.
could already read and were potty trained, and so you have to do something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
extraordinary to get attention in
Yeah.
a big family.
Do you have a good time in Meru?
I love it. Yeah, it's wonderful. My
Yeah.
Kenyan friends are texting me, welcome home.
Is that right?
Getting here.
Yeah.
So.
Other than the tea, did you get to taste the other local?
Mira, is that what you're talking about? We went to the area where
You
it
did.
was harvested.
Yeah. And did you partake?
For purely research purposes. No, I didn't. I didn't. I took.
That's
no,
what we'll tell the judge the
that
next
is-
time.
I did not. We took one leaf,
Yeah.
and it was bitter, and we were laughing so hard. And Jojo Jessica walked in on our interview when we both were sampling a leaf. She was like, "What are you guys doing? This is not
Yeah,
standard."
yeah.
So
And they chew it like naturally, they just.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm Bill Clinton. Like I didn't inhale. Like only in that capacity do
Yeah.
I feel like Bill
Wow,
Clinton.
wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when you go back to America, you're going to come back again? I mean, obviously there's a bug that's bitten you about this place.
I hope so. I really, one goal is to get it republished in East Africa so that it's affordable and distributed throughout Kenya. So, because right now, I love Chan.
Chan's a
we
great guy.
cannot plug Bookstop enough. That
Yeah,
place is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And so, but I want it available
Yeah.
throughout Kenya.
What
and-
about your own book now? I mean, these are conversations with a Mau Mau general, but obviously the stories you've been telling on the bench the last hour or so, you have some incredible stories. Are you going to tell those stories?
I would like to. I would love to do like a book of essays or a collection of essays. I've been living in Miami Beach, and so have just almost finished with my next book. But
What's that about?
it's called Run, Raven, Run. It's a man in Miami Beach called Raven. He started running January 1st, 1975, and he runs 8 miles every day, and he hasn't missed a day since then.
In 40 years?
In 40 years. So every single day. And then he's cultivated this eclectic community, I guess, that run with him every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
one, and you get a nickname when you finish 8 miles. So my nickname there is White Lightning.
White Lightning.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it would be Forrest Gump.
That comparison
Run,
gets
Forrest,
made.
run.
Exactly. So it's a
Wow.
very special community, great
But
story.
there's an African book in you somewhere, isn't there?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever scared? Were you ever worried? Did you ever feel unsafe in any part of Africa you travel?
Whenever something's not familiar to you, then it's scary, right? Because you see things happening and you don't know if that's normal or it's not normal. The only time I really got mugged was in Dar es Salaam, unfortunately.
No. Was that in like slow motion? Or
I was running on the beach with my friend Marcus at the time, and so some guys approached us and said, like, give us your camera, and we didn't have a camera, and so then they said, we're gonna kill you. So in return, we were like, another option is take our shoes, and so they took our running shoes.
really?
Yeah.
Were they Kenyan?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Did they say please and thank you?
Actually, they called us friends when they
Yeah,
approached.
yeah.
They were like, "Hello,
They said,
friends."
Yeah. Naomba.
I don't remember,
Okay,
but I
okay.
did. So my shoes were stolen while I was wearing them.
Dar es Salaam. The only time you mugged.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
That was
What would Magufuli do?
what
No, nothing. None.
inside joke.
Yeah, inside
Okay.
joke. Yeah.
That most of your audience will get.
Yes.
So I'll be the lone. Okay. You can tell me after.
And I mean, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, Tanzania, Kenya, you never felt afraid.
I felt afraid, but it never like manifested in anything bad
And those
happening.
matatu rides, going to funerals,
The thing, like, you could say that I was the target, but I was also so conspicuous that I think there's more good people than bad people in the world, and so people were actually like looking out for me, seeing what was happening, and if I was getting ripped off, like I'm sure I got ripped off all the time.
Right.
But for the most part, people were looking out for me, and the cities were more dangerous, I think, because sometimes when tourists come here and they carry a $3,000 camera that's worth more than the country's per capita GDP, and the only interaction that Kenyans have with this person is money related, and it's not positive, then maybe theft and stuff. But on a matatu, like no one's gonna people would actually sit next to me and say, "Are you poor? Like why are you riding with us?" So
No.
I think a
And
smart
they wouldn't offer you eggs or samosas on the matatu?
So, yeah, often, yeah. In Zimbabwe, this man said he loved Americans, and he said, "Oh, I want to buy you a beetle." And I was like, "A beetle? Like what?" I thought it was bad English. I was like, "What is a beetle?" He's like, "You don't know a beetle? An insect?" So he bought me, it was called harua, like roasted beetles in a whole bag. So I had to my fingers shaking, and the whole bus is watching me. And I
You
almost,
took a bite?
Yeah, it was actually a substantial beetle. And then I was like, "Do beetles have a lot of protein?" And he said, "No, protein, you need to eat mice." He's like, "That's," and it was like mice jerky. And I was kidding with him, and he said, he was kidding too. He said, "But they say that if you eat a lot of beetles, it protects you from the HIV." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Well, I think I can speak for people in my country to say we'd rather just use a condom." But
Rather than eat beetle.
exactly. But he was kidding, and it's a very serious discussion.
That's
but
funny.
yeah,
I like
so
that,
people would buy me food, and in Zimbabwe
Yeah.
it was beetles. But
Yeah.
samosas, chapati.
Yeah. Marriage propositions?
I collected. That was kind of a side hobby in my African backpacking trip.
What's the most you got?
60 cows. 60 cows.
6-0.
6-0.
For this?
Yeah. Wait, is that? Do you
Oh,
think
no.
Do you think it's worth more? Or was that an undervaluing, overvaluing? I've lost value. I'm older now. I realize this. Now, no one.
60 cows?
Yeah. 60.
What's the least?
I think it started at around 3 cows. But then, once you get more familiar with the system. And the man that offered 60 cows, he said, if your dad doesn't have use for cows, maybe I could give them a brewery or something. And I didn't even tell my brothers or my dad, because I would be in Zambia now, and they would be drinking beer.
And think, this one is ours.
Exactly. But my dad did ask. He had an Egyptian colleague, and his Egyptian colleague said, "Tell her in northern Kenya and Egypt she might get camel offers, and that it's about 5 cows to a camel. So tell her, don't be offended if you get less camels."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, Dad, I'll tell you to expect a shipment." And he said, "Why would the cows go to me?" I said, "Because you taught me how to be a good wife. You taught me how to cook. You taught me how to clean." And there was this long pause. He goes, "But you can't do either of those. You can't do that." I was like, "I know." He's like, "What is the refund policy?" He's like, "You need to fine print, what?"
My cameraman has offered 10 camels for your sister. For your sister.
She
He
is
hasn't even met her.
Okay. I
That's
will
my director in my
convey.
ear.
She's happily married, but maybe
He says it
that's
doesn't
not
matter.
Okay.
Laura Lee Huttenbach, you're a lot of fun. We give gifts at the end of our show, and we're offering you one of our t-shirts.
Thank you.
You're gonna wear this in Miami Beach?
I will wear
As you're
it.
running?
This is awesome.
As you're running?
I
on
love
the
it.
beach?
Yes.
They're gonna say, "Oh my."
Yeah. Love it.
Thank you
Good.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Good to meet you.
It's great to meet
and
you.
good luck with this book. It's fantastic. It's a great,
Thank you.
great read. And you have taught us something about ourselves.
Thank you.
Honestly.
I love your book too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
saying that, aren't you?
I just got it yesterday, so I started reading
All right,
it.
all right.
But
Enjoy.
I'm really excited.
Spread
I
the
will.
word in Miami.
I will. I promise.
I lived in Miami for a little while.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah.
were you doing there?
Pan Am Flight Academy. I was a trolley dolly.
That's right. I
You're
saw
laughing.
the picture. No, I saw the picture
Okay.
in the book.
Okay,
I
don't
remember.
laugh.
Sorry.
In Kirote, they call her in Maryland. You know, when you go back to America, they're going to have to call you an American. You know that? American.
It's going to be a limited audience for that joke
Okay.
in America,
Yeah.
but I'll
Yeah,
work on it.
Correct.
I'll
yeah,
try it.
Yeah, just like my previous, Magufuli thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll work on it.
Laura Lee Huttenbach. The book is called The Boy Is Gone. Please pick it up. It's a great holiday gift. It's a great book, a reference book for universities and high schools. It's a great, great read. Written by 33-year-old Laura Lee, who first came to Africa when she was 24. And I tell you, fell in love with the continent, and the continent fell in love back with her. And this is her way of giving back. Fantastic. It's great. And I hope you encourage us to tell our stories. You know?
Let's
It's
do it.
shameful of us, but we're proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep tweeting at LL Huttenbach, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag, the title of the book, The Boy Is Gone. Please keep watching Jeff Koinange live throughout this holiday season. We got great guests, we got great themes, we got great topics. Tomorrow night is Christmas Eve. We got the man who sings country like you wouldn't believe. Sir Elvis is my guest tomorrow night, right here, live on this bench. Be sure to catch us. We'll be singing along to those wonderful, amazing Christmas country songs. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Good luck. God bless. And happy holidays.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good to see you. Well done.
Good to see you.
Good job.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
You too.